Welcome to the podcast again. This week we're going to be talking about purpose. It's something I am super passionate about and super pumped about. One of the things at PAC that we've tried to do right from the beginning of setting up the business and looking at our kind of offering and products is kind of clearly define the purpose of why we're doing it. If you've heard our Origins podcast that may or may not have been broadcast yet.
Not yet.
You'll hear that, our background is running design-led businesses. And I think this time round, the three of us were so keen to have a purpose in place because we really see through the work we do and everything we do, the value of having a clear purpose-led business and what that can deliver. So,
For real.
Say hi, Dom. Say hi, John.
Hello.
Thank you for such a beautiful intro.
It was a stunning intro, I have to say.
I'm glad you got me to do it again.
Yeah. It was. It warmed me right up.
So, Matt, let's talk about purpose because it's a word, it's a term, it's bandied around a lot, especially at the moment. It's a hot topic. So what does purpose mean to you? What does purpose mean to us?
Well, I'm hoping to talk about it on a couple of different levels today, but I think, like you say, it's really important to define it a little bit. A lot of the time people will talk about purpose or values or missions and all those kind of things. And I think in some respects, a lot of these things get tied up. So for us to be absolutely crystal clear about how we're talking about purpose today, I would define the purpose of a company as being the core reason for their ongoing existence, right? And it's not just about the company, it's about why the world needs them to exist.
Yeah. So it's a two-way thing.
I'd say it's slightly a two-way thing. It's probably more a one-way thing, actually, towards the outside of the building as opposed to the inside of the building. It's the impact that you're going to have on the world and what you're going to do for the people and their requirement. And I think that ties in really nicely to purpose being one of the key things that makes you a user-focused business and a customer-focused business, because you're not just saying, right, we want to create workshops to make loads and loads of money. What you're saying is actually, we want to impact people and help people work in better ways to increase the value that they can deliver from their products and their teams and people's happiness and all those kind of things. So, another interesting one is Tesla's purpose, which I accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And you notice, like, Tesla's a big car brand, but there's nothing about cars in their purpose because the purpose sits above that, right?
Yeah.
The purpose is that like impact that they want to make, and vehicles is one means to that end, albeit a very big one.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then to give you like a little bit of reference as well, mission, I probably then define a mission as these are like the big ambition things that we're trying to achieve and that drives our and delivers on our purpose. So they're, very tangible and imaginable, like they're things that you can clearly understand. So, with Tesla, their purpose is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. But then, one of their missions might be create a high volume, low cost electric vehicle. So you start to see how purpose sits on the top of everything.
Yeah, it's like an umbrella, isn't it, that other things sit under. And I think it's an interesting point that you made because, purpose does often get lumped in with like, what's our mission statement? What's our vision statement? What's our values, etc. So it's almost like a kind of brand cliche, isn't it, in a way? And I think it gets dismissed sometimes. That people might think, well, we've already got this, that, and the other, statements, and why do we need to do this? But I think it's really super important, and I know it's a shared belief as well. Not just we think it's really super important to make sure that everything that you do, whether it's a new project, a new product, starting a new company, whatever it is,
just life.
Just life in
Having
general.
Purpose
have a
the
purpose
thing that helps define you and choose the right
well,
things
yeah,
to focus
without
on
purpose.
Right?
Because I think we can all agree, can't we, that any time in our careers, whenever we've been doing something without purpose, certain kinds of people, maybe they don't care. It's just a means to an end, work or whatever you're doing. But for us, if you're a driven person, if you're a driven organisation, whatever, if you want to make a difference to your own company, your own life, your own world and other people's worlds as well, you have to be doing it with purpose.
Well, yeah, because purpose-driven companies make more money they have a way more engaged level of employees. Often they're doing things for the greater purpose of good. They're kind of very aware on sustainability issues and lots of things like that. And it's and it enables them to innovate better because everyone is on the same level and a share of that shared purpose. So I feel like it is such a crucial element, way beyond what the mission is.
Yeah, it's a big old topic as well. I mean, we could talk probably for hours on purposes for companies and purposes for life, all those sorts of things.
What's the meaning of it all?
This is it. But I think like today, to kind of make this reasonably consumable for anybody listening to this. Hi, John's mum.
Hello.
The other four listeners.
To all the mums out there.
But I think what we had a chat about this earlier, and I think for today's conversation, what we'd really like to focus on is a top level. What makes a good purpose and what necessarily doesn't make a good purpose, and also how you can incorporate having a purpose into a product, and not just about a purpose for a lofty brand purpose or anything like that, but how having purpose can really benefit your product life cycle and help you deliver better products faster.
Exactly, and that's a really interesting point, and one I think we should make early on. Often purpose gets lumped in with other kind of brand type statements, but you might think of it, for companies and stuff like that, and organizations that have to define their kind of, it's almost like a set of brand criteria, isn't it, that they have to define in order to be a company, in order to have employees know what they're working for and what they're working towards within an organization, and also what they put out to people as well. But purpose can very much be its own kind of sub thing. So if you're a company and you have your own purpose and your mission and that sort of thing, you could be creating a new service or a new product within your company, and the purpose of that particular entity sits outside of your general kind of umbrella company purpose as well. So it could be slightly different, it could have slightly different meanings, could have slightly different ambitions, could have slightly different appeal. Purpose for products, not just for companies. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. I'd probably question one little bit.
Go on.
Because this is the whole point of this thing is to
question me.
I guess individual purposes 100% get. I guess they still have to sort of sit with the core purpose of the business.
They do,
right?
yeah.
They have to hit that area.
They do, but I think it's important to realise that if you're building out, a separate entity, a new product or service within a business where the purpose and that kind of stuff has already been defined, it's okay to have
a variant specific focus.
A variant.
It
should tie back, unless you want to do something completely radical and outside of your, kind of maverick purpose. But it can be a sibling of your company's purpose, or if it's a bit more of a wild card, more like a distant cousin or a purpose uncle for business once a year at Christmas.
I was so tempted just to be really quiet then to see where that went. That was going down a road of just genius, I think.
A purpose friend.
Just leave him to ramble. As many things you could say about purpose.
So guys, I have a fun activity for you guys.
Oh my God.
This is unheard of. But
Wow.
I have prepared something for one of these. I have done some preparation
Hit me.
Purpose podcast. I like those two words together. They sound great. Anyway, what we're going to do today, and I want a really great piece of music, not the piano music like we had on the last to introduce Matt's purpose quiz.
Hey.
Insert funky music.
Matt's purpose quiz. Matt's purpose quiz. Purpose quiz. Matt's purpose quiz.
All right.
So what I thought I would do is I would pull out, using the power of the interwebs, some different purposes that companies have made for themselves. Some of these purposes being Scorchio.
Whoa.
Some of these purposes being great, Scorchio. Some of these purposes being nada.
Nada.
What? So, right, first one. I want a good or bad first of all, and then we work out who the purpose is. So, purpose: to inspire and nurture the human spirit. One cup, one person, one neighbourhood at a time.
Ooh, was that? Did you say one cup?
One cup.
One cup.
One person.
That sounds. No. I won't say what that sounds like.
No.
One cup. One purpose.
One neighbourhood. So I think maybe it's a drinks brand or something.
It could be. It could be a coffee.
Do you think it's a good purpose or a bad purpose?
Give it to us one more time.
Yeah.
To inspire and nurture the human spirit. One cup, one person, one neighbourhood at a time.
Oh, it's quite aspirational, isn't it?
It's aspirational.
Remember, it's right up there.
It's community. It's community focused.
Community driven.
It's very specific around a cup, isn't it? Which I'm finding it hard not to get fixated on. What does that cup contain? I think it contains coffee.
I think coffee.
Okay, you're both onto saying here. Do we have a company name?
Is it Starbucks?
Well, it's not.
It is Starbucks.
Yeah,
Starbucks.
That's what I said the night before.
Well, we can play it back, but I didn't hear it.
There was some.
If Tom did say that right at the beginning at me and John completely ignored it, like, well done.
It was just in the background. Stop.
I edited it out.
All right. So that's good, right? And I suppose the reason for me that's good is, the first thing that they talk about is the people outside the business.
Yes.
It's not about making money.
Yeah.
It's about inspiring and nurturing the human spirit. And also the neighbourhood element as well, in that sense of community that you brought up, which I think, underneath that, Starbucks can do a lot of stuff with that kind of goal in place and lots of different missions and have lots of different challenges, but end up in that same place, which is, be global but have community.
Yeah. And that was actually it was a bit easier to identify, wasn't it? Because they were, like you said, they pushed it out. So we're talking about the people, which is great, not them. Then they brought it back a little bit, talking about the cup thing. So you're like, I like it.
What's in that cup?
I like it.
Right. Here we go. Simply to live and deliver wow.
Ooh.
So, wow.
Just
Is
one more.
my hand up. Is that your own personal?
It sounds like it could be, but it is simply to live and deliver wow. And the wow, to be fair, are in capital letters and obviously an abbreviation for something.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So is it some sort of a delivery service of some kind?
Well, I don't know. Good or bad purpose, first of all. Scorchio or nada?
I think it's a bit. Okay. I think it's a bit nada. I don't know. Because this is interesting. We'll get onto this when we talk through some other examples. But I think it's a little bit too top level, and it's a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, it's memorable. I think it's good to have something that's memorable. No.
Nada.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't say.
I don't think it's about being memorable.
It's got the word "wow" in capital letters in it. I remember that.
I mean,
Voucher.
It feels super like somebody at the top level of corporate got really excited about this, and we're like, "Wow!"
Yeah.
I feel like they use.
can
I feel
include
like
our
they use
brand
the
as an
word.
acronym.
We need dynamic in there.
But here's a good waypoint.
Yeah.
What type of company is it?
No idea.
I still think some sort of delivery service of
what do
some
you think
kind.
they're delivering, Dom?
Delivering.
They're either delivering some sort of online voucher-based thing, or it's some sort of like actual physical delivery thing, like UPS or something like that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I put everybody out of their pain. Obviously, you picked up on the word deliver there, Dom, which was good deductive work. It's Zappos, the online clothes brand. So I guess, and this is one actually that hasn't done very well when it comes down to like Harvard Business Review and another couple of well-read publications, because and from and I can only speak from my opinion, but like to simply live and deliver wow, it doesn't to simply live as a purpose. I mean, I feel fundamentally,
if you ain't living, you're dead.
It's almost like to say simply does exist and deliver well. I feel that it's a bit loose and not thing.
It's a bit of a cop out. I feel like to simply live.
Right.
I mean,
Next one.
Go.
To organise the world's information and make it truly accessible.
Okay, so I feel like I know this one.
Go on then. Who is it?
I feel like It sounds to me like a kind of IBM or something.
I think it's Microsoft.
Ooh, interesting. Do you think it's good or not? As a purpose, so something that talks about what they're going to do to the world. So, our definition of a purpose was, just to clarify, just to go back there, because it's easy to lose, the core reason for your company's ongoing existence, why the world needs you to exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hit us
So
again.
we'll organise the world's information and make it truly accessible.
Oh God, no! Actually, it's not Microsoft at all. It's Google, isn't it?
Oh,
yes.
So,
Yeah, I actually think this is a good one.
yeah,
This is a Scorchio one.
it feels Scorchio to me.
Yeah,
Scorchio
I think
to
it's
me.
good. It's really it's crystal clear. Does the job.
But again, it's
What-
like, you said it earlier, it's that umbrella that underneath that, you can have self-driving cars, you can have search results, you can have Google Docs, all of those things tie back into that core purpose.
Yeah.
The reason for them living, which is this, organising the world's information, which, love or hate Google for whatever reason, as far as a purpose goes, and being able to really rally a group of people underneath it, that you can't, it's pretty clear and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's tight.
It is, and I remember when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, I think these guys definitely have nailed it. Sometimes you just, because it doesn't only just explain what it is that they do, but I feel like it's nice. It's sort of,
It's easy to remember.
it's easy to remember, and goddamn Google.
Here we go. Right, so how about this one? Undisputed marketplace leadership in chocolate.
In chocolate.
In what? In chocolate?
Undisputed marketplace leadership in chocolate. Scorcho or nada? First of all?
Nada.
That feels like a nada, doesn't it?
It just, in fact, to be honest, it sounds ridiculous, but I've forgotten it already.
Yeah.
Not that I had to necessarily remember it, but I don't know. I think it was that end bit where I was a bit
Marketplace
confused.
leadership in
Undisputed
chocolate.
marketplace leadership in chocolate. I mean, if you were looking at something that means nothing to the outside world, and inspires the outside world, or looks at added anything to that, I mean, it's very self-focused. We want to make money from chocolate.
I agree.
It's so dry.
Yeah, of
So
course.
dry.
And this comes back to that whole thing about, why are you doing it, and what is it doing, not just for you as a company, but for the rest of the world.
Exactly.
And that definitely does feel to me like it was a statement that they came up with specifically for their team.
For the bottom line.
Yeah.
Hershey's.
Is
Hershey's chocolate company in America.
Could have done better, I think. Could have done better.
I really don't like Hershey's. It's
No. Tastes like that laxative
I'm not talking about the
chocolate.
brand, but I'm talking about the chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chocolate is a very,
Tastes-
very odd flavour.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's us not working for Hershey's any time.
Yeah.
But to be
Sorry,
honest, with a
Hershey's.
purpose like that, not our bag,
Yeah.
really. So look,
We ain't digging it.
right, I've got one or two more. How do we feel? Do we want one or two more?
Ooh. I'm in the rhythm.
I'm actually quite liking this. Let's go
Okay.
for two. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for two. Right. To accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy.
Tesla.
Yeah, we talked about
I feel
that.
like you said that
earlier.
earlier.
Yeah.
But that is, let's just...
I think
But
it's worth
it is-
talking about a
yeah.
little bit. Because
It is worth talking about
it is,
because
yeah.
I love
Elon Musk's biggest super fan.
I do. I really like what the guy. I really like what the guy's doing, and I feel like he's driving, everything, humanity forward, really, in everything he does. Not just with Tesla, but I mean, I guess if you see Tesla as the bigger brand, and he does the kind of solar city stuff as well, which makes
SpaceX.
He
and
goes to
SpaceX,
Mars.
taking, trying to get people to Mars. It's just,
It's inspiring stuff.
it's
isn't it?
inspiring
Like,
stuff.
regardless if you like the guy or not, it's super,
Yeah.
super inspiring stuff.
Yeah, and this is a guy who is like a billionaire and yet still goes to work every single day and works harder than most people do in a normal week. And that's not to say, that needs to be me suddenly. I need to be achieving that. But, he's just never giving up. It's sort of like being a billionaire is not why he's doing it. That's just a byproduct of him working hard and trying to, improve humanity. Even the new thing. Have you seen the new thing he's doing with the neuroscience?
neuroscience,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
cool.
even that is just like literally phenomenal.
What do you think, John?
I feel like he's the kind of guy who will probably turn himself into a robot at some point and just live forever.
I definitely agree.
So I feel like their purpose should be to enable Elon Musk to do a bunch of crazy shit until his body gives up His human physical body gives up, and then he turns himself into a robot, lives forever.
Travels to Mars and comes back on his landable rocket.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, for me, it's one of my favourite purposes because it really does, if you define yourself as trying to make such a positive impact on the world to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, the branches from that purpose go into so many different places, and it allows you to do so many different things. And I think missions can change over time, but a purpose should always really stay to the core. A purpose is that kind of thing that is at what stage. A purpose is like a 10-year event, right? Like, how do we change something? How do we move towards a sustainable energy, right? That purpose would obviously change once the world had transitioned to sustainable energy. But, within that purpose of 10 years, you could have missions that change to get you to that point where you can have this, high volume, low cost electric cars, all these different types of things. It's one that super excites me. I've got the last one today, and this is a bit of a random one, but I thought I'd chuck it in there.
Go for it.
Go on.
To inspire healthier communities by connecting people to real food. Scorchio nada?
I think
it's Scorchio.
I'd say that was a Scorchio, yeah.
I don't know whether that's because it's coming up for lunchtime.
Might be.
Swayed me.
I'm being inspired by this foodie-driven purpose. I think it's good. It talks about the community. It talks about, like we said, it's not a particularly kind of inward business-related purpose. It's for the greater good.
Positive. Yeah.
It's a positive purpose.
Feels like one you can rally around, definitely.
So, this is a company in America actually called Sweet Greens, which do really, really healthy food, and they have lots of locations all over the US, and it's kind of a very aspirational sort of millennial kind of food brand company. But again, I think when if you have a purpose of, we want to sell healthy food for a high margin, or we want to, do that kind of thing, or have the most locations of healthy food wherever, that's kind of, it's very self-serving. But when you talk about inspiring, healthier communities and connecting people to real food, I think that's it's very powerful for not a massive big.
You've got to be able to rally around a purpose.
You're going to get people working in that business that are passionate about that stuff. Just like with Tesla, just like with Google, that's where you get the best people working, because there's this flag that everyone can run behind. And when you apply that to products, which is where we're going with this, we've seen that you can rally your teams behind that. You can create great products, and whatever the product is, a digital product, it's like anything that sits inside there. It could be a service, it could be like the way that you experience a building, any of those type of things. If you have that core purpose in place, you can massively get everybody moving in the right direction. You can get objectivity in there as opposed to subjectivity, and you can absolutely, take it to a whole new level.
I feel like they've nailed that as well. Think about how many food brands are out there. That's, it becomes, and that's one thing to point out, although there are many businesses out there perhaps very similar to yours, that doesn't mean your purpose cannot still be unique. And that for me, for me,
and that probably elevate you above, and your product as well. So, I think we've covered a fair bit of,
I tell you what, I've got some facts for you.
You got some facts?
Yeah.
Cue the music.
Welcome to Facts Corner. So my friend Harvey, my friend Harvey at Harvard Business Review, basically sent me over some facts this morning around purpose. I got onto the old blower this morning and was like, Harvey, give me some facts. And I've got them here for you.
John's going to push you back from the microphone now. You're talking about your facts.
Oh my God!
So excited.
So the benefits of purpose. So just to clarify, because I feel like we've been talking a bit about it, and for me, you always have to be able to have some measurable statistics in here to just show you the value of everything.
Data sound effect there. We need
data sound effect. So 88% say it helps create value for customers. So that is pretty banging.
Yeah, that's
pretty high. 73% of people say it inspires innovation and positive change.
This is what we're talking about. The rally and stuff. That's what I'm talking
about. 72% say it gives employers a sense of fulfillment. Again, 64% says 64% says it helps generate financial returns for shareholders. So there is that, because obviously, every company, despite having a clear purpose, still needs to make money. And, although there is a big thing... Of course, yeah, exactly. And although there is a big thing about it not just being about profit and it being about the greater good, still, you can earn money as a byproduct of still doing good stuff.
Yeah. I feel that's another podcast, but profit doesn't have to be evil. In fact, profit's needed. You can't send, new spaceships up into the sky without money to do that.
No, exactly. I know, exactly. You have to be able to, yeah.
One of the nicest companies that John and me were talking about the other week is Patagonia.
Patagonia. So Patagonia is definitely the purpose poster child, isn't it? It is when you talk about purpose and businesses and stuff, and there's a great book by the founder of Patagonia called Let My People Go Surfing, and I think that's what it's called. Some variation.
I believe that is it.
Yeah. Something about some variation on that, and it's basically about the founder of Patagonia, who, if you don't know, they're an outdoor kind of apparel brand. Started off making climbing equipment, and the guy was a climber, and realised, back in what we're talking 60s maybe, can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was the 60s. That a lot of the equipment was not made by climbers for climbers. A lot of it was environmentally destructive to the landscape and in the manufacturing processes and that sort of thing. So started making his own kit and selling it out of his car boot, in the places that he went climbing. And it's kind of like the story of a reluctant businessman, and it's a great book. But Patagonia's, they're very much like a purpose-driven business through and through, from their very start right through to now. So the Patagonia purpose originally was build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire, and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. Scorchio or nada?
I think for the time, Scorchio.
Yeah,
definitely.
Scorchio.
I think so, because I think it's there's some meat in that sandwich.
There's some meat, yeah. It's
probably
almost
a bit too much meat, but
it's a bit too long.
Yeah,
it's a bit too long.
A few too layers. It was like a meat feast.
It's a meat feast.
Not maybe a vegetarian feast.
Yeah, could be. So there's some intent there, right? There's some stuff to rally around, but it's probably a little bit too long-winded. So this is an interesting thing, because Patagonia actually changed their purpose.
They have changed their purpose.
And I'm not sure how recently that was, but so their purpose was build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis, right?
And their new purpose is now save our home planet.
That's a cracker, isn't it, really? You don't get much Scorchio. Well, you're trying to prevent the Scorchio, but you don't get much more Scorchio than that.
That is
that's hot.
That is singeing.
See, I think...
But then they have a fair few years of action behind that to give it context, whereas I think if you started the next marketing agency and put that as your purpose...
Save the home planet.
You've probably got your umbrella's a bit too big.
It's quite a big... Mars. Yeah, of course. You would, for a new company, you'd be like, wow, that is,
that's bold.
That's quite a challenge.
It's super bold. Yeah. I don't know whether it's slightly too top level and slightly that could potentially be any business, really, if you didn't couple it with the kind of Patagonia name. But
the thing with Patagonia, though, what's really interesting is they donate 5% of the revenue annually to the environmental activist charities that they do.
Right.
And when I say revenue, that means if they lose money, so they turn over $1 billion and lose money, they still have to pay 5% of $1 billion that year towards these things, because that's part of their purpose and tying it back in.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stuff that they do that actually qualifies them to say that with credibility. Whereas you could use it, but if you don't follow through with your purpose, then it's just a
yeah. You got to spray it and say it, haven't you? You got to there's got to be action, right? There's got to be intent, and it's not just something you stick on the wall.
Yeah,
it's something that you live and you breathe. So how does that filter into products then, because we've spoken a lot about kind of top level brand or kind of company purpose.
Patagonia is a really interesting one when it comes to product and purpose, because when they make all their products, which normally would be quite environmentally destructive, they actually have to qualify that within their purpose. So they have to make sure that the right practices are in place, A, for the people working in those factories, often in different countries, and B, that when they're making them, although it might create some environmental impact, each time they improve it, it lessens it. And I think that's what I see as purpose tying into products. So if you're building like a mobile application, or you're building a service or a product inside your business, you have to have that kind of core purpose to be able to make these objective decisions on. So why do you choose X over Y, or why do you do A instead of B?
Yeah. So it's like a lens that you pass your decisions through.
Exactly.
And you can always draw stuff back. So if we're talking about a product design, and you're talking about features and functions, and often products usually within already established companies are driven by we've seen a gap in the market, or there's something that we need a product to do. This is the features and functions that we need to do. Right, get on everyone and rally a team around it and build it. But there's not that step back where you say, actually, this is the reason why we're doing it, and this is the reason why it's important, and this is the reason why our customers will love it. And
some of the best companies in the world are doing it already, right? So the guy called Ian McAllister, who is the director of product management at Airbnb, he says, I'm going to give it a direct quote because I don't want to do misjustice for his words, but he said this when he was asked why having a product, purpose is so important. He says, by having a purpose, you can pin that at the top of every roadmap, and it will be clear if what follows in the roadmap doesn't match your principles. So that means that they can make decisions with stakeholders, and obviously big companies like that as well. You've got a lot of people in the room. These products are big, and they have many teams working on different things, and everyone has a different kind of idea of where they're coming from or why they're doing it. And that purpose helps not only define what they should be working on, but how they work on it and how they get everybody else on board with what they're doing.
It's your North Star, isn't it? It's the place that you always go back to navigate what you're doing. Use it as a lens, pass your decisions through it. If there's a decision that's being made that's super important, you've got to have it front and center and say, well, does it tie back into ours? So we did a purpose workshop, didn't we, when we started PAC?
That's right, our PAC purpose workshop.
We did the PAC purpose workshop, and so when we were kind of forming PAC, we had tons of conversations. We work like this. I work like that. And it was all very aligned.
That sounded exactly like that.
Yeah, just like that. It was just like that. With
nailed it.
More high fives. We were like, okay, this is all aligning. This is great. But we need to sit down and we need to nail this stuff now, because every conversation we have, every bit of content we make, every project we work on,
every product we sell,
every move you make needs to tie back to your product purpose.
So when we did ours, what came out of that 1 hour session was that PAC empowers people to think differently, work better together, and achieve more faster. And that, for us, although without really understanding why we did it could sound quite fanciful, actually defines all of our products. We won't do any type of work that doesn't empower people, down to the way we design our workshops, the way we have people interact with us, and we also always have to be pushing to make people think differently, which means we can't just copy what everybody else is doing or jump on the most recent trend. We have to be always pushing for individual thought and the value that brings, and then and always achieving more and faster. And for that's actually quite a harsh criteria that we do, because we have to do that in our own actions. For instance, a meeting we had this morning, we stuck a 15-minute timer on it, because it's about how can we do these little tiny things and bring this thinking of what we do as our core service back into our own business.
Exactly. You've got to practice and intertwine it through your organisation, from the inside out.
Exactly. So, look, we could talk about this for a long time. I guess what we're trying to say really is, why are we obsessed with purpose, and why should you be obsessed with purpose if you're building a new product or building a new service? And I would say the reasons for that are threefold. Specifically in regards to a product, it's going to help you develop a better product roadmap, because instead of, the great thing about building stuff is that you can do anything, but you can't do everything, and you need to prioritize. And having that purpose will help you clearly prioritize on what is important for you to build, make, design, develop, to get you closer to fulfilling your purpose. Number 2, it helps you improves your strategic decision making through the whole process. So individually, if everyone's firing in the same way, people are rallied behind something, better ideas come to the table, more relevant ideas come to the table, and you can look at things and objectively say, have we gone off on a tangent? Should we stop doing this now because it doesn't meet the core purpose? Because that happens, but it's much better to ring it right, put it back quickly. And number 3, and this for us, I think is one of the biggest ones, is it will help you align teams and stakeholders across the company. Without a fact, having a shared purpose before you start anything, especially in a big company, when you've got multiple people involved, different people in different departments, different level stakeholders, people having to sponsor projects and bring budgets in. By having a clear purpose right at the beginning of a project, you are going to have a team on all levels that are all firing in the same direction. And what happens a lot of the time is people don't have that in place, and one team will go off and do something, the other team, but whoa, hang on, you're entering our territory here, Sonny.
Exactly.
And then one senior stakeholder will go, I haven't been involved in this, why am I paying out hundreds of £1,000s to do that? So if you can get everybody together, have this clear vision that, and Dom spoke about earlier, pin at the top of everything you do, and use that as the North Star, then you're going to have all your ducks in a row right from the very beginning. And you're going to have a better product. You're going to make it quicker, and everyone's going to enjoy doing it.
Yeah, people know why they're getting up out of bed every morning. They've got something to believe in. Your customers know what you're about, and you just need to. It's foundation stuff. Like stop, drop tools. Don't build anything. Don't design anything. Don't do anything. Sort your purpose out.
If you haven't got one or you don't know how to do it, like we've released the template for our purpose workshop. The Pack Purpose Workshop, because we literally believe in this so much. We go out and do this for companies sometimes, and we charge them a fair bit of money to do it. But actually, you can take this yourself and get this in place. So you can download that from a link that will be provided in I believe
show notes.
He's getting me taught.
But it's ridewiththepack.com purpose-workshop.
If you want to go grab that. But yeah, just like in everything, find the purpose behind something, and then everything you do will be so much more enjoyable and feel so much more right, and you will end up with something much better in the end of it. I'm going to shut up now.
Awesome.
I feel like
I think that was great.
I feel like we've done.
Purpose mic drop.
I like the same review. We should put a 5-star review on this.
If I was listening to this on DP, five stars.
Would you? Perfect. And you'd probably share it with some friends as well.
I would definitely share it. I'd also and I may even add a comment. I definitely would add a comment.
We really enjoy doing this. We want to keep making this type of content. We want to know what you want to hear about. So feel free to drop us a comment, drop us a review, tell us where we can improve. Tell us what you want us to talk about, and we'll talk at you about it for 30 minutes in your ear holes.
Definitely.
That's it.
Just one quick question. That guy, McAllister, was that Ian McAllister?
Yes, it was Ian McAllister.
Has he got a son called Kevin McAllister?
We'll put a link into the show. I didn't go that far down the rabbit hole, Dom.
It's not Kevin McAllister's dad from Home Alone. But good 80s tangent like it.
And on that note, we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.